Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all well and dandy and everything's perfect as always. I've got some parts coming, that cable and everything for the Maxcom 4E. So we'll have the Maxcom 4E together and a speaker as well for the Uniden 200. I sold a few radios and I thought, brilliant, I'm quids in. And then all of a sudden someone told me that they wanted to sell something, which was this, for 30 quid, £30. I thought to myself, you know what, it's worth the risk for what this is. It's one for the collectors, you know, I won't be using it, but you know, you don't get these anymore, you can't buy these anymore. And sorry for those of you wearing headphones, by the way, I got moaned at by someone who doesn't like loud noises because they wear headphones, so bear with me while I unwrap this. See if we can get into it like that. Sure. They said that they were going to pack it well. Made a meal of it, that's for sure. Right, nearly cut the wire then, that was lucky. Now, like I said, I won't be using this. It's just one for, you know, I'll sell it if the right price comes along. But if not, I just want to keep it because you can't buy these anymore, what this is. You know what it is because of the title, but you can't buy them anymore. They're very good amplifiers. You know, all the valved ones were. The only thing that worries me about this is, has the valve survived the postage? So we will find out. The box has got a wet corner. Don't know why it... Oh, that's a bit strange. As if there's nothing that can leak out of it though. Oh dear. Now I think the unit itself has survived postage, but will the valve have survived? Because they're very fragile, you know. All the shattering and vibrations could well have shattered it. I've had that happen in the past. I mean, I don't have any valve amplifiers at the moment, but I've bought some in the past and they've not survived the postage, unfortunately, and I've had to put new valves in them. But providing that the valve has survived, this is supposed to be a good working amplifier. Right, there we go. So that's what we've got there, my friends. Speedy, C.T.E. International. They're supposed to do, they're rated at 100. I don't think he's taking the cover off. They're rated at 100 watts, I believe it's 100 watts FM, 200 watts SSB. I might be mistaken because it only says 100 on there. I don't know, it might be 100 watts SSB. I can't remember. But they won't never do that. I had one in the past, had a brand new valve in it, and the maximum I got out of it with a 6 watts in drive was 80 watts. You know, I dare say there's going to be people out there that say, oh, I've got one and it does 100 watts or whatever, but it depends how accurate your meter is. I mean, don't believe that one. That probably would need to be calibrated anyway. But you always have a good meter in line, and I'm going to put this one on a dummy load and we're going to test it with this meter because this is the one, regardless of whether it's accurate or not, this is the one I test everything with. So I just go by this. So you know, this is the meter that I go by when I test radios or amplifiers or anything. So it might not be the most accurate, but in my shack this is the accurate meter. So yeah, here we go. Look, it's supposed to be a good working amplifier, and there's a bit of something's been burned or melted on the top there, but it seems alright other than that. Should I take the cover off just to make sure that there's nothing before I turn it on? Make sure there's nothing funny going on the inside. Someone's been in here before because these screws are in cross-threaded. So someone's been in here before. So the person, I don't know the person who sold this to me. I just know that someone said to me, oh, there's one that's come up. I heard him talking about it and he wants to sell it. So I went through someone to get it. I mean, you know, 30 quid ain't bad. You can't get these anymore. You can still buy valve amplifiers, but not these sort, you know. They're only big HF ones. You can probably buy VHF ones, but they're only big ones, you know, for HF and stuff. Well, there's loads of dust in there. But it doesn't look too bad. There's some wood chips in there, and you've got to be very careful. I mean, personally, I don't like touching any of these. You've got to be very careful with these, because there's a lot of voltage in here, a couple of thousand volts. If you touch the wrong part, you've got a big zap and you're in trouble. I think it's AC volt and all, DC volt and all. DC goes straight to your heart, AC won't. But I just wanted to make sure that there's a few wood chippings, there's a bit of mouse poo or hamster poo in there. But other than that, everything seems to be alright. Nothing looks exploded. Nothing looks to be popped. The valve looks reasonable. It's a bit black. Well, actually, that might be burnt out, I don't know. It's a little bit black in some cases. I'm not gonna... Let's move the camera around. Let's move you up, hold on. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of a burnt patch on the valve there. I don't know a lot about valves. I know a little bit, not enough. I mean, I can change one and all that, but I don't really like doing it because I don't know a lot about all these. You know, these are perfectly safe if you know what you're doing, and I'm like, you know, you lot know me by now, just kind of bodge it up and see how it goes kind of thing. But you can't, when it comes to a couple of thousand volts, you got to be careful, you know. So yeah, that valve looks, you know, I mean, I've had valves in the past that have been black and burnt like that, and they've worked for another couple of years, you know. But we'll see, we'll turn it on. If the valve don't work, it won't work. You know, if it does work, then that's great. I was worried about it smashing it. Anyway, let's plug it in, turn it on to start with, and if it turns on and heats up, and then that's one good sign, and then we'll see whether it's going to transmit or not. Right then, so we'll put the cover back on. Let's plug this in. Where are we? Switch it off, standby. So we got that on there. On. Well, I don't really know what went on there. I reckon that switch was a bit in between. But it's gone back down to 0 now. To start with, that the meter, don't know if you saw it, but the meter went up to 10 watts transmitting power. But it weren't transmitting nothing because I've got nothing in the back. But I knocked that switch from on to standby again, and it's gone back down to 0 now, and we've got the standby light come on. The valve is on. The valve itself, I think you can see it just up there. You can see the valve there, lit up, warming up. So well, I'll see if any. I'll leave it on for a little while, see if it heats up. Because what happens is the valve has to heat up. It's got a heater in there, and if the valve don't get hot, it won't transmit. You're supposed to let them warm up for a few minutes, you know. Well, I like to leave them for about 5 minutes or so before I transmit. If you don't warm them up properly, they won't last very long. So you got to let them really warm up. So yeah, you got to let them warm up. So I'll let it warm up. If anything happens, we'll see what happens. There is some heat coming out of it now, a little bit of heat. And while I'm waiting for it to warm up, I'll prepare a radio and a dummy load, and we'll go from there. Right then, so here we go. I've got a little setup here. It's a bit cramped here, so oh bloody hell, turn off. It's a bit cramped here, so it's not the best. I've sprayed a little bit of switch cleaner on that switch. I think there's something wrong here somewhere. Something's a bit funny with this amp, but we're going to see whether it transmits or not. It's heating up. The valve is nice and warm now. There's definitely heat coming off of there. But whether it's going to transmit, I don't know. Got a dummy load in the back of my meter, and I've already stated that this is, I know it's not a proper, it's not a bird, you know, but this is new. No one's ever been inside it. It's probably, hopefully, calibrated on the factory, and I test everything with this meter. All right, it's my shack standard accurate. All right, so. I'll zoom you in a little bit, but I want to get the whole picture in. So let's turn on the radio, and we happen to be on channel 19. Doesn't matter what channel we go on, really. So that's on standby, so that shouldn't transmit anything. Let's get a baseline for our power on a 20 watt setting. Don't know whether you can see that, but that's reading about 4.5 watts. 4.5 watts that's reading on there. So we're going to have to do a bit of plating and loading, if it'll even key up. I don't think it will. The switch is read. The switch is oh, there you go. Right, we should still have the standby light on, but the standby light goes off. Let's see whether it's going to key. Oh, it keys. It does key. I don't think it's not transmitting much. I think there's something a bit funny in there, didn't you? It's hardly transmitting any power at all. I reckon that valve's at it. That's not even... That's transmitting just over 10 watts. That is. Oh, it's gone up. It's going up. Oh, we are going up. It is going up slowly. It's going up. I wonder. Maybe the valve is just very worn and it needs to get nice and warm. I think we've definitely got a dodgy connection there somewhere. We're going up in power slowly. That's slowly rising up in power. The longer we leave it keyed. It sounds very quiet compared to my other one that I had before. I wonder, because the chap that I bought it from said it smells of burning. I wonder if he just didn't plate and load it and he was trying to use it, because when I got it, the plate was over there and so was the load in the same direction. So I wonder if he just didn't plate and load it, and he's kind of burnt it out. But we'll keep persevering. We'll see if we can get any more power out of it. It's nice. It's getting nice and toasty in there now. There we go. Another bit of a plate. I think we've got a loose connection, that's for sure. Keep watching that power meter. That's reading 35 watts and it's reading 35 on there near enough. But it is going up. The longer it's keyed, the more it goes up. There we go, look, we're going right up there now. 50 watts. We're on the 50 watts now. I wonder if just the heater in the valve was not working, not keeping it heated. 50 watts. That was a long old key and all. Dummy load's not hot yet though, so we're alright. We'll keep going. Some of you lot might not like my method of plating and loading, but I've got a funny feeling this amplifier's had a bit of trouble anyway. So here we go. We've gone down again now. We've gone down in power. So the meter on there is reading 60 watts. The one on my meter is reading 50. Now I haven't got any of the burning smell what he said happened yet, but it was supposed to be a working amplifier, just with a burning smell. But so far we ain't got any burning smell, and I'm keying up for a reasonably long time. Right, we're not going to get any more than that. No. No, that's where we need to be there. Oh, hello, we've gone past it. That's probably not even, that might even be 55. That might even be about 55 watts that we got coming out of there. So it does work. It's just not very well. Well, okay then, lovely. Well, I'll tell you what I think I'm probably going to do is, it's nice and hot. I reckon it might just need a new valve in it, to be honest. I wonder if this, now I've used it and it's got warm, I wonder if this is still going to be a loose connection. Ah, you see, we've got a loose connection on that switch. Something's causing that to do that. So that needs to be sorted out. The standby LED doesn't work. That should be on. Oh, it does. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, my mistake. It does work. Standby. On the one that I had before, it's the same model as this, but for some reason this one seems to be, it's got quite a relay on it when you key up. Oh, it's not on. Yeah, that loose connection is on the meter there, look, because when you push on it, it goes down and the light comes on. Yeah, on the one of these I had before was exactly the same model, but the standby light was on even when you had the switch on the on button, and when you keyed up, it went out and went to TX, but the standby was on all the time. This is obviously just a different model. Well, it's the same model, but it's probably maybe a later one or an earlier one, I don't know. But lovely jubbly. Well, I do know that it works anyway, that's a good sign. I'll get that to stay there. So that now we've gone down in power. Now we've gone down in power. Now some of you lot might be able to... Yeah, then we've gone back up in power now. Some of you lot might be able to... yeah, that meter's got a loose connection, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Bloody switch. Gone down in power again now. When it heats up, it will go back up in power. as it heats. Now some of you lot might be able to help me out with this. I mean, I know a little bit about these, but not enough. I know there's a heater in there. Now, as far as I know, because the one I had before, that was low on power as well. Until if you was having a long conversation with somebody, it would stay hot and the power would stay up. But if you left it for a while so you're listening to somebody, for example, and then you keyed up again, it would be low on power. Now, someone said to me that's because the heater isn't working and keeping the valve hot. And when you're transmitting, the valve heats up and is able to perform how it's supposed to. But then the heater's not there to keep it warm on standby. The heater isn't working. So, you know, I don't know enough to know whether that's 100% the fact or not. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bloody well find out. I'm going to find out what valve I need to get for it. Get myself a valve. And I'll put a new valve in it. And we'll go from there. And while I've got it apart, I'll see if I can just tighten up that connection on that switch and on that meter. Because other than that, that's the only trouble with it. It's just got a bit of a lazy valve, I think. Nice one. Don't worry, I'm going to make sure that I earth it out properly, you know, short it out to get all the power out of it. I don't want to be zapped with a couple of 1,000 volts, thank you very much. No, I'll be doing that bit properly. You know, there's some things you can't bodge up and you can't do. Bloody hell, I might have a black hand when you... Oh dear. Yeah. No, it'd be worse than that, bloody hell. Anyway, thanks for watching, you lot. Just thought I'd show you lot that, because, you know, it was, I didn't know what I was getting really. It was supposed to be a working amp. I mean, it is a working amp to some respects, but I think the chap who had it, he don't really know a lot. And I reckon he had it plated over there like that, and loaded like that as well, when it turned up. And he said it smelt of burning. So what I reckon has happened, and some of you, you know, disagree or agree, put in the comments whatever you think. But I think he's not plated and loaded it, or at least not plated and loaded it properly, and he's burnt the valve out. And the burning smell was just all the overload, everything being overloaded. Because if you don't plate and load it properly, everything just gets overloaded, doesn't it? By all means, again, put in the comments exactly what happened and what you know. But I know that. That's the idea of plate and load. So, yeah, I reckon he's just burnt the valve out. Anyway, we'll get a new valve, we'll stick it in, I'll do a video of doing all that, and then we'll see whether we can get it to work. Lovely jubbly. Thanks for watching, you lot. I'll catch you on the next one. Have the best day possible. Oh, by the way, if you've got to the end of this video, that's great. I really appreciate that. I just want to say a few things, you know, other than really had time. There's going to be some engine videos coming up. I've got one out there ready to rock and roll. Lawnmowers, rotivators, engines, generators, some other things coming up as well. Also, I'm going to be getting a haircut. Woo! Not on video, just maybe getting a haircut. Yeah, love it, man. Yeah, so if you did get the end of this video, you didn't get bored and then click off somewhere and you're watching this bit, that's great. And you want to see the engine, stick around. You know, there you go. That's that. Thanks for watching again. Really, really appreciate you being here. It's absolutely fantastic, man.